Hello again, everyone. It's Dave Frampton here, and this is Sapiens. Hello. So it has been some time since the last devlog, and I'm sorry about that. It happens every time. There's a number of reasons, and things sort of kept popping up. And when I broke my ankle at one point, that kind of threw me a bit. Yeah, I don't know. I've been super busy, and actually, this has been the most productive few months of my life. I think I've achieved massive amounts. You might not agree, but under the hood, a lot has changed. And in fact, if you looked at if you ever look in the Discord at the unstable release notes, there's been a lot going on. So when I started thinking about what I was going to work on, I'd just done 0.4, which was the windstorms update, and before that was the medicine update. We've got these, in fact, I better get them harvesting some medicine. That's a new feature, by the way. We can now gather all different plants. And I was starting to think about, so what am I going to work on next? And really it seems like we need interactivity between tribes. You know, I need to get multiplayer working. So that's been my focus. I've started on multiplayer. But before I could really get to that, I needed sleds. I needed some way of moving stuff between tribes, because as it was pretty difficult. So sleds made sense because they're sort of a very primitive, simple way of moving stuff around. And how I thought they should work is that they're just a storage area. You know, they're the same as any other storage area, except that they can move. And that works very, very well. So you can just, load them up with stuff, and then once they've got stuff on them, you can move them. In its basic sense, that's what it is. It's a movable storage area. And you can also use them with roots. I've got a lot of orders queued up, so no one's coming to do this. I think if I just prioritize it, someone should be here soon enough. There we go. So that's the basics of sleds. When I was making these storage areas, I realized you wouldn't be able to store the same amount of stuff in there as you can in this, just because of the size constraints. There we go, she's dragging along now. The animation's placeholders, and there's no ropes, but it's mostly functional. So yeah, I realized they had to be different. So I thought, well, if I'm gonna make a different sized storage area, perhaps the first step is to make some shelves, make some different kinds of storage area, and some tool racks that is specifically for certain kinds of things. So this is, it's all just kind of a starting point, because this is all leading further forward, but it's still very useful. Tool racks are great. They can only accept tools, and it's just a nice compact way of storing things against walls and things. You can even fit a storage area in the floor there, so it sort of optimizes your space. You can store things vertically in shelves too. Useful for sort of food and medicines and musical instruments and things like that. So with the sleds kind of working and your ability to move stuff a bit easier, I thought it was time to work on AI tribes. So someone to trade with. And AI tribes, it wasn't super critical that I went straight on to working on AI tribes next, but I wanted to get multiplayer working, and the two have a lot in common. So what we have here, these white markers, they're all AI tribes. The purple markers, those are player tribes. This is a multiplayer game. This is running on a server in the US, and I'm playing in New Zealand, and we have 2 other players online. And all of these markers are villages that other players have been creating on this test server. They've been doing it because we have a public unstable branch that you can switch to in Steam, which gives you access to this, and then you can connect to this multiplayer server or in a number of other community-run multiplayer servers. We've got dedicated server apps running on Linux and Windows, and you can also connect by opening it up to LAN connections and sort of port forwarding the right ports and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, in September of last year, I broke my ankle. It was pretty nasty. It was a pretty bad break, and I ended up basically bedridden for 6 weeks. It kind of messed me up because I was, I work from home, but I do have a separate office that's down a bunch of stairs, and I wasn't really able to get there very easily. So I got myself a laptop, and silver linings, I guess. It was a horrible thing to go through and having an injury like that, but it changed my workflow and the way that I work. I used to have to do sort of 4 to 8 hours a day if I, sitting at my desk all in a row kind of thing. Like that's how I sort of how I manage my day. And if I didn't get that, if I got interrupted and stuff, I got mad. But it's no longer the case. I'm just fitting work into anywhere that I can now, and my whole workflow has changed, and it means that I'm a lot more productive. And I actually think I've been the most productive that I've been ever in these past few months, and I don't see why it shouldn't continue this way. So that's good. It's been an exciting time. We've sort of been building up a bit of momentum and getting a lot of players in. Let's go have a look at some of these other players. So this is a tribe down here. This player's online, and their Sapiens are also online, busy working. They've been making a huge number of stuff, lots of blocks. So I guess there's a big build planned here. That'll be interesting to see. And then we've got a number of other tribes around the place too. Like, so every one of these purple markers has had a tribe there at some point. They've had varying degrees of work done on them. People have come in. This is a temporary server, and it will be shut down at some point. I'll make the world save freely available, but I won't be hosting this indefinitely. So it's more of a kind of an experimental place. And yeah, over time, wind and rain and stuff will damage buildings as well, and they'll slowly degrade. So if you don't connect for a while, you may find things are not as you left them. So getting all of this working was no small task. When I first got multiplayer up and running, we tried to... we played a bit, and it worked relatively well. I mean, it worked well, especially on LAN connections where there was no latency. But once you added latency into the mix and started building up a bit more and had a few more players, it would really not perform well. So I spent a lot of time working on optimizations, and then of course fixing the bugs that were created by those optimizations, and that's been a big focus of what I've been doing these last few months. And I don't want to say, I mean, if you're not into multiplayer and you don't see the appeal of having people building up tribes around you as well and that kind of thing, okay, fair enough. But this work also has a huge impact on single player performance. When you're playing single player, you might have 50 Sapiens or whatever and be building in a little patch of land, and you're probably not going to hit a lot of the bugs that might happen, or you might get a crash now and then, but it's not really a big deal. But if there's a bunch of you all building all at once, then any little issue like that's just going to show up. And so the game is now more stable than it's been ever. There's a lot of I don't know of any crashes right now. There probably are some. There always will be some, but they're much rarer than before. Performance has been massively improved, and that means that your Sapien count's going to be higher. I'm going to add a setting. I haven't added it yet, but I'm going to add a setting to allow you to set how many more Sapiens you can have. And so, increasing your maximum tribe size. So there's some great optimizations that have gone into. We do have AI tribes as well. Where are we? Over here. The ones around here, unfortunately, are a bit glitched out. I think all of the Sapiens have left them because we had a bug at one point earlier on in the beta. But generally, if you start a game in single player, and certainly by the time we get to release, you'll be able to go to these AI tribes, and they've got different kind of industries assigned to them. So this would be a rock napping one. They've been busy making all sorts of rock things, and then you can go in and say that you want to purchase stuff, and there's a whole currency system. This stuff is mostly sort of implemented, but it still has a long way to go before it's got really the full feature set that I'm aiming for with it. There's a large number of other things that I've worked on. So you've just seen there's an auto assignment thing there. So we can now just have this checked. One of the big complaints has been that there's been too much micromanagement, especially as your tribe grows. And I hear you. That's why I've added this box. And it's a little bit slow at times. They'll be sitting around. It under assigns rather than over assigning. So if you want to, you can still go in and manage them all yourselves, and at times it's best to do that. So there's still some advantage if you do some careful micromanaging in amongst it. The AI has been massively improved too. All those optimizations helped a lot, but now just actually 2 days ago, I made it so that if a distant Sapien is coming along to do a task and a close Sapien realizes that they can do it, then they'll just overtake the order and say, "No, I'll do that." And that alone has massively improved what Sapiens can do. Actually, just as an aside, I found that quite interesting because, initially they were acting selfishly where they would just do the best thing for them. That was very inefficient for the tribe as a whole. When they started working together a little bit, it makes a huge difference. And I love little things like that. Sometimes, you just realize that these Sapiens, they're doing things and you think, well, that's maybe what they did in the past, maybe that's how it did work. And you sort of build things for various reasons. You think, well, this is probably why they built that. That's why that exists, So you do you learn out of just experiencing the challenges of starting a village like this. But anyway, let's have a look at sleds. So I showed you before they're just storage areas and we can do all the same stuff as before. There used to be a routes button here. Now that's gone. The reason for that is that it was not the right solution for the problem that we ended up having. Basically what you want to do most of the time is just move stuff from one place to another. Sometimes you want to have some kind of a chain, but that can be managed just by having a number of routes that just moves one thing from one thing to the next. And I was trying to create this kind of more, I guess I was presenting the programmer kind of interface to the user. It just needed to be simplified. And so now how it works is that you actually just create send and receive orders, so which are effectively the same, just from different direction. So we want to say we want to get some stuff here. Maybe we get some crucibles. Maybe we want to move these crucibles. So we've just set up this little route here. We're sending the items to the sled, and we'll just check that that's all good. Yep. So let's now send the items from the sled somewhere else, or maybe over here. Let's put them over here, which makes no sense at all because the kilns are all over there, but let's put them here. Just make sure that everything's good. Okay, so if we go back and find where this sled is and what's happening, she's picking up a crucible and moving it to the sled. So they actually dragged the sled over to the first storage area. Now someone's coming over, a pregnant woman, to drag a giant sled. Here we go. So as I said, the animation is a placeholder. I'll get that sorted before the 0.5 release. And she'll slowly go down here. Rock paths are now much faster than they were. They're, dragging sleds is slow, obviously, but rock paths are fast. Different path types have different speeds now. There's actually loads of changes that have happened since 0.4. Just lots and lots of little things. So one thing that's really come out of all of this, multiplayer is great because I get to see how you guys play. If you're playing this server, I can see what you're building, I can see what you're doing, and I get more of a feel of, what we need. And I'm enjoying building my own stuff too, and just, really experiencing the game, and it's helping me to improve it. So once the sled gets there, then they can unload all the items. And for 2 crucibles, it's not really a big saving, but if you've got a whole pile of stuff, this can be quite a significant improvement. So this has been working really well. I've been putting out unstable builds every few days, roughly, on average maybe 2 to 3 days. And then I'm sort of getting feedback. It's changing the way I'm developing a little bit. I've found that I'm able to go faster because I'm getting that feedback. The testers, the people who are on this unstable build, they're actually, finding bugs that save me the time of having to find them. And I'm just finding workflows that work so much better as a result. So I'm going to keep doing it, is what I'm saying. I'm going to carry on just after 0.5 is stable. I'll go back to making an unstable branch again, and we'll get into 0.6 together and openly. So if you'd like to join in with the unstable branch, then all you have to do is go into your Steam library and right-click, go to Properties, and then select the public unstable beta. So that's something that you can do if you want. It is unstable still. There's still a chance that you might have issues with, we had a bug where people lost their tribes completely recently, which was no good at all. I fixed it the next day, but still they were irrecoverably lost. So if you are going to come into the unstable branch, then you'd be best to back up your worlds first and just realize that it is unstable for a reason. But we would certainly welcome you, and I feel like now's as good a time as any to jump in if you want to. So yeah, join the Discord. There's plenty of information there. That's where we're sort of running the public beta from. And if you wanted to join this server or any of the other servers, actually, just to let you know, so you can choose how long your tribes will continue to simulate for while you're away. So you can get them to just hibernate immediately, which just sort of removes them from the world so that they're not kind of busy or getting hungry and tired and all that sort of stuff anymore. So you can choose when to do that. We'll just let them carry on for 2 days before hibernating. And I just wanted to show you the list in here. So there are public servers. These are dedicated servers that have been set to advertise publicly via Steam. So you can connect to these in the unstable branch quite happily. And you can create your own servers as well by hosting them yourself. So whether you want to jump in now or wait, roughly another 8 weeks is when this stable release is going to go out, around mid-July. So either way, if you want to join us now or wait until then, I hope to see you in one of the servers soon. And we will catch you again with another devlog pretty soon, I think. I'm going to really try to up the frequency of the devlogs. But until then, thanks for your patience and thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.